Hello guys, I'm Fanlox and today I'm going to be doing a Nickelodeon tier list. Now, Nickelodeon is something that I watched when I was a kid and it's something that I still watch now. I'm very much a man child. If you look at me, I'm clearly a man, but I'm over here watching like SpongeBob SquarePants. But you know what? That's okay because SpongeBob isn't just for kids, and I'm going to rate all of the shows in a tier list right now because I have very strong opinions on all these shows. And you know what? I want to share them to you. So I'm not going to be biased with this. Okay, well, I am going to be a little bit biased, but that's because I want it to be my opinion tier list. Now, if I did it, how the show should be, it would be everybody else's opinions. So I'm going to do it my opinions. And I'm also only going to be doing shows that I really recently watched. There's a lot of shows that I watched when I was a kid that I just forgot about. And I don't want to unfairly rate those shows. So I might not rate every single show on this video, but I'm going to do my best to include as many shows as possible. And if you guys want me to do more tier lists, then subscribe and comment down below telling me what I should do my next tier list on, because I might make this a series. So guys, enjoy my Nickelodeon tier list starting right now. Alright, so we're just going to go ahead and get right into this here. So Bunsen is a Beast is the first one on there. So Bunsen is a Beast is not one of Butch Hartman's most memorable shows. That's for a good reason. The show, what a way to start off here. The show, it's definitely not S tier. I wouldn't even say A tier. It's definitely, out of the 4 Butch Hartman cartoons, this one is probably a C tier, to be honest with you. It's not the best. It only lasted probably like 1 season. I would be surprised if it lasted longer than 1 season. But yeah, it's certainly there. So now we're going on to live action already. Starting off odd here. Ned's Declassified. This show right here, it's about kids in high school. I watched it. It could be middle school. I don't know. I watched it when I was a kid. I remember it being really, really good actually. But I haven't watched it in a long time. A few of these shows I'm going to be a little bit hesitant on just because I haven't seen them in so long. But I remember this show being really, really good as a kid. So I'm going to put it on A because I remember it being really good. This is Making Fiends right here. So this show got screwed over by Nickelodeon, as most shows get screwed over by Nickelodeon. It was made, you can watch the whole show on YouTube, I'm sure. I've seen it before. It's all right. It's definitely better than Bunsen is a Beast, I'd say. So it's going on B tier, I might change this also. So this is Pinky Malinky. Nobody probably knows what this is. It is one of those Nickelodeon shows that was supposed to come out, but never did, and then it got switched to Netflix. I mean, it's the style is similar to Amazing World of Gumball, but it's not as good as Amazing World of Gumball. I mean, I've seen a little bit of it. I'd say I put it on Bunsen is a Beast levels, C tier, The Casagrandes. This is a spinoff of The Loud House. And I have not really seen an episode of The Casagrandes, but I assume I've seen the Ronnie Ann episodes of The Loud House. And, I assume it's more of just The Loud House. I'm sure there's nothing wrong with it, but I'm going to put it on B with Making Fiends. Just because, it's a spinoff. Whatever. The Thundermans. The Thundermans is another one of those live-action shows that did really well in the ratings. Honestly, I watched a bit of the Thundermans recently. It's entertaining. It's definitely one of those modern kids comedy sitcoms, right? But is it as good as Ned's Declassified? No. So it's going on B. All right. So here's the Ninja Turtles, the most popular one that went for a lot of years. I've never actually seen it. But it's Ninja Turtles, right? I assume it's good. See, this is supposed to be my personal list here, right? Would I want to watch an episode of the Ninja Turtles? I'm sure it's good. I'm sure it's better than these two, right? I'm sure it's probably on this level. But I have not seen very much of it. But I'm just going to rate it now. I'm not going to rate all these shows because some of these shows I have not seen. But this one, I'll rate that one. Hey Arnold. Now here we go. Now we're getting into the good stuff. Hey Arnold. This show is great. It's relatable. There's so many stories, so many good characters. It's really close to an S tier, honestly. Man. But Hey Arnold, man, I'm gonna put it on A. I don't think it's quite an S, just because a few episodes are a little bit slow, and a few episodes didn't really hit, just because they're trying to give side characters a chance, which isn't always the good thing, but and then the movie, that wasn't supposed to be the movie. It was supposed to be the Jungle movie, which we got a few years ago. The first movie wasn't really a proper ending, and it just keeps teasing fans with the Arnold and Helga relationship. So it's an A, but this show is definitely one of my personal favorites. I mean, come on, bro. So I'm gonna skip over some of these shows because I haven't really seen a lot of these shows. But here's a show that I have seen, Danny Phantom. Whew. Personally, this is my top 5, maybe even top 3 favorite Nicktoons of all time. Danny Phantom is definitely Butch Hartman's best work. I mean, you look at Bunsen as a Beast, and then you look at Danny Phantom, and you think, where did Butch go wrong? Listen, I'm a big fan of Butch Hartman. Do I agree with some of the things that he does? Not really, but I still respect the man. That's an ad. That's hilarious. Why is there an ad here? Okay, anyway. Danny Phantom, I mean, bro, it's a good show. I mean, would I put it on S? If you're not going to put Arnold on S, then you can't put Danny Phantom on S. It's an A, right? But I'm strongly thinking S, but Danny Phantom is just that good. I'm going to skip a few of these shows because I have not seen them and I wouldn't be able to rate them fairly. Big Time Rush, though, that's a show I recently watched. There was an episode with Patchy the Pirate from SpongeBob on here. Big Time Rush, it's a sitcom about a band of 4 boys. It's a boy band. I mean, it's funny. The characters are good. But it's not like Ned's Declassified levels here. I can't even speak right. Big Time Rush, though, I put that on a B. Man. Is it the Thundermans level, though? You know what I'm saying? The Thundermans or Big Time Rush, I mean, they're good in their own ways. It's good for what it does. I would definitely rather watch Big Time Rush over like Bunsen the Beast or Pinky Malinky, right? So that's getting a B. Sanjay and Craig, on the other hand. So this show, it reminds us of like Bob's Burgers or something with like the art style, right? It's one of those modern Nicktoons that had like a little bit of a chance, but not really. It's definitely it's definitely not as good as you might think. The characters are good. It definitely has like the look of like a hit show. But the comedy's a little immature sometimes. I watched it. I've seen a little bit of Sanjay and Craig, but it's okay. So it's definitely not A. Would I put it on the level of like Making Fiends and Casa Grande? Well, I mean, it served its purpose. It's just kind of mediocre, but not too bad. I might put it on C, and I might move these guys down here to D. There you go. That's my decision. Victorious. Definitely one of the best live-action sitcoms Nickelodeon has ever produced. Victorious, I mean, man, Victorious is great. It's going on A. It's going on A. I mean, I've said it's a great show, great characters, great comedy, great everything. I have not seen much of Harvey Beaks. I'm not gonna rate that one, but I've heard that one's really good. Drake and Josh, though, now that's another. Ooh, man. Now, I know Drake and Josh is good. I watched it as a kid, but I have not seen it in so long. I'm not going to rate it, but I know that one's good. It's probably S tier, but I haven't seen it in so long. I don't want to, unfairly rate something. Like I kind of did to the Turtles. I kind of unfairly rated that, but I don't want to unfairly rate anything else. I've not seen much of the Naked Brothers. It's Pony, though. So It's Pony is a modern Nicktoon. I think it's still airing. I hope it's still airing. It's just a calm, chill, laid-back show. Is it anything special? Definitely not. It's just calm, laid back. It's kind of underwhelming, but it's just something, if you're just chilling around, you're flipping. If you're flipping through the channels and you see it on, you got nothing else to do. It's a C tier. The comedy, it's just mediocre. It's just underwhelming, but it's definitely not bad. Like these are just a little bad, but. You got, okay, so Nikki, Ricky, Dickie, and Dawn. I watched a lot of this show when I was a little bit younger. It's definitely not, like, Victorious level. I would even say the Thundermans is just a tad bit better than this show. I'm putting it on C, though. I loved this show when I was a little bit younger. But, nah. I don't know what any of these shows are. Penguins of Madagascar, that was airing when I was a kid. I don't remember it, though, so I'm not going to unfairly rate anything here. I don't know a lot of these, but I do know All Grown Up. So, spinoff of the Rugrats, Nickelodeon just couldn't let the Rugrats die, so they have All Grown Up, the spinoff.
I mean, the magic of the Rugrats was kind of lost with All Grown Up, right? But it's, it's kind of relatable a little bit. The theme song is very relatable, You know, I think it goes something like, I'm an extra year older, but I still go to school, or like something like that. It's definitely not the worst thing on here. Like, when I put it above these shows, yeah. So, All Grown Up's getting a B, just because, like, it's not these guys up here level type stuff, That's the difference between All Grown Up and Rugrats, right? Angry Beavers, I've not seen that in a long time. Robot and Monster, I watched that a lot as a kid, but like I haven't watched it in so long, I can't really rate it. As Told by Ginger, though, I can rate this one because I saw it not too long ago. As Told by Ginger, I mean, I hope I'm saying that right. It's a good show for I think if I was a little girl, I would love this show, right? But not just a little girl. Like, I can watch it as a guy, and it's like teenage girl problems, teenage girl in high school. It's not bad, It's similar to Hey Arnold in a way, but it's just not as good as Hey Arnold. I'm putting it on B tier. But it's definitely a great show. Now here we go. Here might be my first S tier here. Avatar: The Last Airbender. So this show, man. Well, I remember watching it as a kid, but when you're a kid, you don't really appreciate things as much. I rewatched this show on Paramount Plus recently. I mean, it's got continuity. It's a story-driven show. There's a reason why this show won Kids' Choice Awards Best Cartoon over SpongeBob in either 2008 or 9. The show is S tier. I mean, great characters. It's funny. It's a good story-driven series. But you have to watch it in order, though, because if you just pick like a random episode, you're not really gonna know what's going on. Like, it's very continuity-based, which is it's asking for a little bit much for like a Nickelodeon cartoon for kids, right? But you gotta appreciate, that it's not just another kids cartoon. It's something serious. Like, it should be taken seriously with a little bit of comedy, right? Oh man, is that Cat Scratch? I have not seen that since I was a kid. I can't rate it, but I remember watching it. There are some of these that I wish I could rate, but I just can't because I haven't seen them in 12, 13 years. But Fairly Odd Parents, though. So speaking of Butch Hartman, we know he'd come back, right? Fairly Odd Parents. I mean, it's iconic. It's probably the second or third most overproduced show of SpongeBob, Rugrats, and Fairly Odd Parents, because this show ran too long. So this show, in its infancy, like season, I think 1 through 5. I mean, it's a phenomenal show, right? But after they kept it going, after Channel Chasers, when they added Poof and Sparky and Chloe, I mean, it just wasn't as good. It was still alright, and then of course, even in the early seasons, the comedy was a little bit too obnoxious. But this is still one of Butch Hartman's best works. It definitely rivals Danny Phantom. I would say Danny Phantom is better than the Fairly Odd Parents, but I would not put those guys down here. So I'm putting Odd Parents on A. Still a phenomenal show. I mean, it's one of the best on Nickelodeon of all time. And there's a reason why they ran it into the ground like SpongeBob and Rugrats, because, I mean, it's just that good. I've not seen Back of the Barnyard in a while. This is the part where I kind of run out of shows to rate here. Bella and the Bulldogs. I mean, I guess I can rate this. I seen this not too long ago. It's about a girl who plays on a football team with all boys. I've seen this show. It's just another one of those sitcoms, right? Is it like Thunderman level? I mean, it's not bad, Is it very memorable? Like, at least Thunderman's is a bit more memorable. I'm gonna put Bella and the Bulldog. I mean, I guess C tier, I guess. I mean, just because it's not that memorable. I mean, it's certainly there. It's certainly not bad, I would say. I mean, if you're in the target audience, maybe you'd like it. A guy like me, I don't know why I'd be watching that. No reason I'd be watching that at all. Anyway, let's get into something I know here. Cat Dog. Yes, Cat Dog. My dad and I loved to watch this show when I was a kid. I still love this show. I mean, it's great. It's Cat Dog. Is it like these guys up here level? No. I would say Cat Dog is like the pinnacle of B tier. Cat Dog's great. It's a dog and a cat into one person, or I guess animal. I don't know. I mean, it's very interesting. I'm gonna go for Breadwinners. So this show is as bad as everybody says. With Bunsen is a Beast, like, at least the show is, like, a little bit watchable. This show, Breadwinners, it's not watchable. It's just butt jokes. It is as bad as everybody says, right? Like, it's just, if you're, like, under the age of, like, 5 years old, you'd enjoy it. But, like, think about Breadwinners and, like, Avatar The Last Airbender. Like, these shows just do not compare, bro. I'd rather watch Bunsen is a Beast and Pinky Milky over Breadwinners. It is as bad as everybody says. It's just not a good show. It's not a good show. Don't watch it unless you want to see how bad it is, which is what I did. Do not watch the show. Mighty B was my favorite Nicktoon as a kid for like a little while. I was old enough. I remember when this show first premiered. I remember seeing the advertisements for it. It's a show about a girl who's I don't know. She's in some type of like scout, like some type of Girl Scout thing or something. I don't know. You know, the comedy is a little obnoxious. I'd say it would fit really well with like Sanjay and Craig, and you know shows like that. I think It's Pony is a little more mature than this show, but you know it's a C tier. Quick pause to change things up here. All right, so let's continue on here. So Henry Danger, that is a definitely one of Nickelodeon's more popular sitcoms. You know, they ran this show. I think there's, like, spinoffs going on. You know, it's same thing with, like, the Thundermans. They're two very similar shows. You know. Well, now, me personally, considering that this is my personal list, I would rather watch the Thundermans over Henry Danger. But Henry Danger is still a funny show. You can't say anything about that. But is it on the level of, like, Victorious? That's a no way. So, not Thundermans. Henry Danger... Considering that these two are so similar right here, Henry Danger is going on B tier, right? But it's definitely the modern child's childhood, really. Not, you know, past my time, but, you know, it's definitely there. But here's something that was a little bit before my time, but I still enjoy Rocko's Modern Life. So this is basically pre-SpongeBob in the sense that, like, Steven Hillenburg, Tom Kenny, Mr. Lawrence, a lot of the SpongeBob crew before SpongeBob worked on this show right here, Rocko's Modern Life. I mean, it's great. The show's good. It's very mature for like adult humor type stuff in a so-called kids cartoon. I mean, Rocko is awesome, man. I mean, you know, is it up here with like Hey Arnold and stuff, and like Danny Phantom and Victorious and Fairly Odd Parents? I mean, you know, there are a few lackluster episodes of Rocko, right? But, like, I would definitely take Rocko over, like, all these shows. Maybe not Cat Dog. I mean, Cat Dog and Rocko are pretty similar, right? But I think just because Rocko is so mature, it deserves to be A. Just because it's not just a kid's cartoon. It's a cartoon that kids can watch with their parents, and I think that makes a good kids cartoon or sitcom, right? Something that both the kids and parents can enjoy. That's why SpongeBob was so successful, right? But then you got Kid Danger. So if Henry Danger is a sitcom, right, they made an animated spinoff called Kid Danger. And I've seen a few episodes of this, you know. Let's talk about Dan Schneider, the guy with the foot fetish. There's a lot of foot references in this show. I mean, come on, bro. I mean, the animation's just not very good. You know, animation, I like... Definitely watch the sitcom over the animated spinoff for sure. You know, I mean, is it like Bunsen is a Beast levels bad? I mean, not necessarily. I mean, it's just more of the sitcom but animated. I mean, come on. I mean, you know, okay, a good animated show has good animation, right? The show, you watch the sitcom. Don't watch the animated show. It's not good. Ooh, here's a show that I'm very passionate about that nobody probably knows watching this video. Nobody probably knows this. And if you do know Pelzwick, shout out to you. So Pelzwick is a Nicktoon that lasted for like 2 or 3 years on Nickelodeon. Maybe like early 2000s, like before I was even born. I was born in 2003. This show was like 2002 or 1. I don't know. But Pelzwick, I love this show. It's about a handicapped kid, but what makes this show so special is that the main character is handicapped. He's in a wheelchair, but they don't make that his gimmick. Like, he's just a normal character who happens to be in a wheelchair, right? And you know, this show Nobody remembers it. If you want to watch the show, go on YouTube and look up Pelzwick. The whole show is on YouTube. That's actually how I watched it. I hope they add it to Paramount Plus one day. I like the show. I mean, you know, it's a good show. The creator of the show was also he had some disabilities, and he hand drew all of the characters, even though he was disabled, and it's actually pretty cool. It's a nice little touch. I mean, this show is awesome for, you know, people who are disabled, but it's not really all about that though. You know, it's just it's a wonderful show, and you know, now is it like, you know, top tier comedy, you know, top tier storytelling and all that? Like, it's definitely not up here. I don't even say it'd be here, but I would put it on B with like Cat Dog, and like Henry Danger is good too. You know, Pelzwick is definitely underrated, and it's really ahead of its time, honestly, because you probably see something nowadays like, oh, let's make a show about a kid in a wheelchair and let's, you know, help those people out. But this show here makes him look cool, like Pelzwick is handicapped and he's one cool kid, you know, and considering that it came out over 20 years ago, this show was ahead of its time. So if you have not seen Pelzwick, definitely check it out. It is a phenomenal show. But I'm putting it on the B tier with, you know, some other good shows like Cat Dog and all that. It's definitely good. It's great. Enough said. I mean, I love Pelzwick, right? And then you got one of the newest hit shows, The Loud House. I remember when this show first came out. I mean, it's definitely interesting. You know, you got a boy with 10 sisters. I mean, you know, and it was a success. You know, usually like shows like It's Pony or Sanjay and Craig, you know, Nickelodeon, if they don't get good ratings, they cancel it after like one season. Loud House is lightning in a bottle. The show's still going on. It's getting a movie. It definitely rivals SpongeBob for sure. The Loud House, it's good. There's just so many characters. The comedy's good too. People say that the later seasons aren't very good. I have not seen the later seasons. I've seen the earlier seasons. But from the earlier seasons, man, I mean, the Loud House, you know, the style is of a comic book, which is very cool. The Loud House feels like something straight out of the golden era of Nickelodeons and Nicktoons, right? But, you know, I'm going to put it, I mean, the Loud House definitely is something special for sure. It's unique. It's going on the A tier, right? I know not many people like that. It's a good show for what it's worth, and the fact that it is successful in the modern era, which is something that no Nicktoons can do, really. If you're not as successful as SpongeBob from day one, you're not gonna last. The Loud House got lucky. It's got, you know, toys. I have Loud House toys. I have Loud House DVDs. It's a little blast from the past of having a Nicktoon actually, you know, be successful. So that's why Loud House gets A tier. Enough said. iCarly. Now here's another show that they recently brought back. Paramount Plus, iCarly reboot. It's awesome. Dan Schneider, this is definitely Dan Schneider's best work, you know. iCarly and Victorious, you know, it's just massive piece of many people's childhoods, including my own. I watched the show as a kid. I watch the show now, especially with the reboot. iCarly, you know, now Victorious and iCarly are both great shows, right? But iCarly is so memorable. Like, I'm not saying that Victorious isn't memorable, but I'm saying more people remember the funny characters and the funny references to iCarly. And, you know, it's the one that got a reboot that is probably bringing more sales to Paramount Plus. Let's be honest. iCarly's great. It's going on S tier, honestly. I think iCarly just is a step above these other sitcoms. I mean, it's just funny. I mean, that's all you really want. It's a comedy sitcom. I mean, what else can you ask for? The characters are great, you know? And then speaking of Dan Schneider, let's talk about the complete opposite of what I just said, Game Shakers. It's Dan Schneider, I think it's his last show before he got removed from Nickelodeon, you know. The topic of Dan Schneider is a whole nother video, you know, with the foot fetish and all that. But yeah, this is definitely not, you know, like if Butch Hartman had It's Bunsen is a Beast, which is his not best show, then Dan Schneider has It's Game Shakers. You know, it's equivalent. It's not good. I mean, it's watchable, I guess, but like, if you compare like it to like Victorious or iCarly, some of Dan Schneider's other work, like, it's just not good compared to those. You know, it's just weird. The show's a little weird, but whatever. And then speaking of more Dan Schneider, right? Dan getting the Dan Schneider, right? Sam and Cat is a spinoff of both iCarly and Victorious. I think that's Sam and Cat, right? Isn't that Sam and Cat? That doesn't look like Janet McCurdy. We're just gonna say that that's Sam and Cat. I think it's Sam and Cat. So it's a spinoff. They took two side characters from both iCarly and Victorious and made them their own show, which is a cool idea for sure. But, the comedy and quality of the show is definitely nowhere near their original shows. So, but it's still entertaining. It's just not at all. It's a little more immature compared to these other two shows. So, Sam and Cat's going on B tier, I like the show personally. I love the show, but, it's not on the level of their original shows. Another sitcom that I personally like, The Haunted Hathaway. So, as a kid, I did not watch this show. I didn't, I think when this show was coming out, I kind of stopped watching cable TV and kind of shifted more towards YouTube videos. But Haunted Hathaways is something that I just recently started watching on Paramount Plus, and I love this show. It's kind of a hidden gem, It's underrated. It's underrated, but some people know about it, and the people who do know about it love it. Like, I wouldn't say it's like Victorious and iCarly levels funny, not that memorable, but like it's about a single mother with her two daughters who move into a haunted house with these three ghosts, but the ghosts are like really funny. They're really funny characters. I love this show. As much as I want to put it on like A tier, I don't think it's the same level as Victorious though. But is it better than like Sam and Cat or like on the same level? For sure. So Haunted Hathaways, great show. It gets B tier for me. And that's just what it is, And let's get back on the topic of shows that were so good that they ran them into the ground until they weren't good anymore. The Rugrats. So as a kid, I loved this show, and that's all that really matters. If you're a kid and you watch a show and you think back to it when you're an adult and you say, I love that show, I had great memories with it, that makes a good show. So the Rugrats is something that I watched as a kid and I remember loving, It's a little difficult to watch nowadays because, like the main characters are all babies. Now, there is their fair share of adult jokes. And there's a reason why Rugrats is up there with some of the, most iconic Nickelodeon shows ever to be produced, right? Rugrats is awesome. It's about babies just having fun with their imaginations. What more can you ask for, right? It was one of the first Nicktoons to ever come out. You got to put it on A tier, right? You got to put it on A tier, which is a step above their spinoff, because it's a little bit of a downgrade. So Rugrats is on A tier for sure. I think that's Rise of the Turtles. So this is another show. I don't know much about the Ninja Turtles, right? But Rise of the Turtles has a very strong fan base. I'm putting it with the other Turtles. I've seen the show, but I'm not much of a Turtles fan. I don't want to unfairly rate this stuff, right? But I already rated this one, so I'm just going to rate this one, too. There you go. Rise of the Turtles. I would personally rather watch that over the other Turtles just because I'm more of a fan of, like, traditional 2D animation rather than 3D animation. But, I'm putting it there. I don't know much about it. So if y'all disagree with my B tier for the Turtles, that's fine because I don't know much about it. But I'm still putting it there because why not? I already started, right? Anyway, let's move on to another show that I watched as a kid, My Life as a Teenage Robot. Man, I loved this show as a kid. I have not watched it in so long, and I feel like I shouldn't really rate it just because I haven't seen it probably in a good, 10 years. But, I remember it being really good, Yeah, I definitely think it's better than these shows down here. So I'm going to put it on B tier, I don't think it's on the level of, A tier stuff, but, Now, El Tigre was one of my favorite shows as a kid. I remember I had the Happy Meal toy from McDonald's of El Tigre. But I don't remember it, man. And I don't think it's on Paramount Plus. I need to rewatch it first before I rank this show. But I do have great childhood memories of it. But I'm not going to rank it just because I don't want to be unfair. I don't remember the show very much. But I love the show, though. And then you got Planet Sheen. So let's talk about spinoffs like earlier. Planet Sheen was the Jimmy Neutron spinoff. It's not good. But would I say it's a little bit better than Breadwinners? Yeah, I would. But it's like, then you put it with Game Shakers and all that. I mean, is Bunsen is a Beast a better show than Planet Sheen? I mean, a little bit, you know. Planet Sheen just didn't make sense, dude. And the animation just wasn't that good. I'm putting it on F tier. You know, it's just not the best. We shouldn't talk about it for much longer. Let's talk about another show from that same era, the Fanboy and Chum Chum. Yes, I loved this show as a kid, right? Now earlier I said, you know, if you like a show as a kid, then that's all that matters. But there's a difference between like something like Rugrats and Fanboy and Chum Chums that I can go back as an adult and watch Rugrats and still enjoy it. But like Fanboy and Chum Chum, like I do have good memories of it. I had the action figures. There was Fanboy and Chum Chum action figures that I had as a kid. I loved the show as a kid, but the show, it's just not... I would say it's better than Planet Sheen, though. So Fanboy and Chum Chum, you get a little bit of a pass just because I have a little bit of a sweet spot for the show. But Fanboy and Chum Chum is D tier. You know, I watched Planet Sheen also, but it's just not good. It's just a shell of its former self in Jimmy Neutron. That's why it's down there on F tier. Enough said. Alrighty, so next up we have Welcome to the Wayne. So Welcome to the Wayne is one of those new shows that I saw premiere, and you know everybody says it's a great show. I mean, because it really is. You know, it's a shame that Nickelodeon really just didn't give it a chance. You know, because the ratings weren't like SpongeBob level, so they didn't give it a chance, and they canceled it after the first season, or maybe season 2. I don't know, but the show has continuity. The show is story-driven. The characters are funny. You know, you got like a smart character, you got like a comedy character, and then you got like the straight man character, right? Like this show is almost like Avatar level. Like, okay, I would not say it's Avatar level, right? But it's close. It's the same concept, right? So like, Welcome to the Wayne. Now, is it like, you know, are the characters that memorable? Is the comedy that memorable? Not really. It is a little bit underwhelming, I will say that. But for what it's worth, this show, it's criminally underrated. And it should have been, you know, maybe marketed more. I don't really know. I mean, you know, cable's dying, right? So it's hard to make new shows these days. Like that new show, what's it called? Middlemost Post. Like, everybody wants it to succeed, but like cable's just dying. And Welcome to the Wayne was just one of those shows that came out when cable was dying, and people don't really watch cable anymore. And, you know, if Welcome to the Wayne came out like early 2000s, I feel like it would have been a hit, right? But like I did say though, the characters aren't necessarily that memorable like these shows. But I'm going to put Welcome to the Wayne on B, because it's definitely miles better than like Sanjay and Craig and like Mighty B and stuff like that. So Welcome to the Wayne gets a B tier. If you guys don't know about it, check it out. It's not on Paramount Plus yet. I feel like they're going to add it one day. They should add it one day. I would love to watch like the full series, because on cable they didn't really... It was odd. But Welcome to the Wayne definitely is one of those shows that had potential, but just you came out in the wrong era. Oh gosh, and then let's talk about this show. This is Alvin and the Chipmunks. So when I was a kid, I loved the movies Alvin and the Chipmunks. I know it's a property that's been around for generations and generations. This is just another one of those, it's kind of like Ninja Turtles where Nickelodeon buys the rights to it. You know, but Alvin's just, like, this show is just not good. It's just like the freaking mediocre, like, you made the Chipmunks just kids. Now, in the movies, are they kids? In the original show, are they kids? I don't know. I've never seen the original show. I've seen the movies as a kid, which is you know why I know about Alvin and the Chipmunks. But you know, it's just like the CGI, like the 3D animation, just isn't good. It's like I'd rather watch Bunsen is a Beast and Game Shakers and even Kid Danger than this show. Right? It's just not good. Disrespectful to the Alvin and the Chipmunks legacy, man. So let's talk about another show that I did watch this show as a kid. I have vague memories of the show as a kid. It's called The X's. So if you ever seen The Incredibles by Disney, it's a family with superpowers. It's kind of like Thundermans, but it's more like The Incredibles, right? This show, nobody really knows it. I remember watching it as a kid, and I watched an episode of it not too long ago, like maybe like 2 years ago. You know, I mean, it's just like the cookie cutter, like, you know, oh, we're a family that has superpowers. We can't tell anybody, just like the Thundermans, right? Except this show came out when I was a kid, like early 2000s. You know, it's definitely nothing special, you know. I mean, would you put it on the same level as like Cat Dog, Welcome to the Wait? No. I don't necessarily want to say it's bad, but it's like, it's nothing really special. I'm going to put it on C tier. Because, like, its pony's decent. Sanjay and Craig and Mighty B are okay, right? So I say the X's fits perfectly in the C tier. Okay, so here's another show that Nickelodeon just doesn't give the chance to. It's called Glitch Test. So a lot of it has a very passionate fan base. It's on Netflix, right? I was waiting for the show to come out on cable on the Nickelodeon channels, but it just never did, and it's on Netflix now. You know, I watched the first episode of it, and I can see why everybody says it's a really good show. I mean, it's about like these like kids that like fix games or something. Like, it's actually a pretty cool concept. It's about video games, right? You know, it's definitely cool. The characters are pretty good. It's kind of in the same boat as Welcome to the Wayne, where like if this show came out during Nickelodeon's peak in like the early 2000s, mid 2000s, whatever, this show would be great. And it'd be a hit, right? But this show definitely needs to be checked out. It's on Netflix. If you have Netflix, watch this show. It's pretty good. I'm putting it right next to Welcome to the Wayne because it's on the same boat. It's a good show. It is. I've only seen the first episode, but I can just imagine how good it is just from that first episode. Now let's talk about another show that I knew was great since the first episode. Invader Zim, the king of Hot Topic. Yes, so as a kid, I never watched the show. I always knew about the show, right? And I remember putting this show on my DVR like 12 years ago because I wanted to start watching it, but I never got around to it as a kid, right? So, you know, about like 14 years later, here I am now. And I watched it on Paramount Plus because I know that this is one of the shows that everybody loves, Invader Zim. I'm saying, okay, I finally have time. Let's watch this show. It's on Paramount Plus. And from the first episode, I said, wow, it is as good as everybody says. If Breadwinners is as bad as everybody says, Invader Zim is as good as everybody says. This show, I mean, it's so dark. It's so unique. And it's so weird that it was on Nickelodeon. And then it also got this movie on Netflix recently, a few years ago, which I tried to watch it before I even watched the main show. So I turned it off after a few minutes because I said, I need to watch the main show first. I mean, Invader Zim is just, it's good, man. I've only seen like 4 episodes and I already want to put it on S. Like, is it better than like Danny Phantom? Okay, so like Hey Arnold and Danny Phantom are like peak Nickelodeon, right? Is Invader Zim up there with like Avatar and iCarly? But is Hey Arnold and Danny Phantom not up there, right? You know, I might edit this list after I'm done, right? But I'm really wondering, like, Invader Zim, I mean, it is really good. It's about an alien who comes to Earth, and there's a kid who is, like, a conspiracy theorist. He's like, look, he's an alien, but everybody around him is blind. It's really good. I'm going to put it on S tier. I said it. I'm going to put it on S tier just because it also connects with the fans, as in it's, you know, King of Hot Topic, right? You see Gurr all over Hot Topic. It's got a good fan base, you know. But you could say the same about like Danny Phantom. Like I said, I might come back after this is all said and done and change a few of these. But as of right now, man, I think Invader Zim is worthy of that S tier. And as you guys saw, I don't just hand out S tiers. I mean, there's more, you know, there's more D tiers than there is S tiers, right? But anyway, I mean, Invader Zim's great. If you have not seen it, if you have Paramount Plus or maybe the DVDs, you gotta watch Invader Zim. I'm going to come right in here and get Jimmy Neutron. This is one of my all-time favorite Nick shows as a kid, but also now, you know. The Jimmy Timmy Power Hour with Jimmy Neutron and Fairly Odd Parents collaboration. They had 3 parts. I mean, bro, Jimmy Neutron is a great, intelligent show, you know, because, like, the freaking main character is, like, a scientist kid who's smart. But then you got Carl, who's a meme, and then you got Sheen, who's also a meme. And you got Cindy and Libby, just great characters, great cast of characters, right? This show is definitely something special, right? You gotta put it on A tier, right next to Fairly Odd Parents. It is just that good. I'm telling you, man. One of the best of all time, for sure. So, we're getting to the point here where I need to make sure I don't forget anything, right? Zoe 101. Let's do Zoe 101. So, I did not watch the show as a kid. I've heard of it. This is a Dan Schneider show, I believe. You know, so Dan Schneider's just a weird guy, man. Zoe 101, man. It's just another one of those Dan Schneider things. So, I watched an episode of the show. It's, you know, it's like a slice of life, you know, school. It's similar to, like, Ned's Declassified. The show, I mean, it's funny. And you also leave the show with, like, life lessons and stuff. That's just from, like, the few episodes that I've seen. I don't know if that's really the show. I think the show gets an A tier. It's pretty wholesome, pretty funny show. There's a reason why it's one of the most popular shows of all time, for sure. So, like, a lot of these shows I remember watching as kids, but, like, I haven't seen them in so long, I don't want to unfairly rate them. Chalk Zone is something that I recently watched. So, Chalk Zone is about a kid with, like, chalk, and when he writes chalk, like, the characters come to life. It's definitely cool. It's unique. You know, is it something that, like, as an adult, I would go back and watch? I don't know about that. But it's definitely up there with, like, those, like, creative and criminally underrated shows. It's definitely better than, like, Mighty B and stuff like that. So I'm going to put Chalk Zone on B. It's a neat little creative show, right? So, as much as I would love to rate, like, a lot of these shows, man, I haven't seen them in so long. Maybe I should have rewatched a lot of them before doing that. I mean, well, I already have been watching a lot of Nick shows. Of course, I'm saving the best for last here. I just want to make sure. Okay, so, like, a lot of these shows I've seen, I don't want to rate. I want to make sure to do a quick scan before we save the best for last here. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these shows I have not seen in a long time, or just haven't seen at all. Okay, so Romeo. Okay, I watched this show not too long ago. Romeo is a pretty nice little fun show. It gets a B tier. It's a pretty cool show. I like Romeo. It's just cool, you know, swag. Like, if you're a cool kid, you're watching Romeo, right? So everything else here, I either just haven't seen or in a long time, or just have never seen it at all. So we're going to get on to the main event. That it would be, of course, everybody's favorite, SpongeBob SquarePants. So here's my take on SpongeBob, right? It is my all-time favorite show. If you know me, you know that SpongeBob is my life. I mean, right here is a little, like a 5-foot Sandy Cheeks plush. Right here, you can see it right here. You can just look at me and say, I'm a SpongeBob fan, right? I was 1 year old when my parents took me to the SpongeBob SquarePants movie in 2004. This show has been with me in my heart all my life and still is to this day. I still watch all the new episodes. I watch Camp Coral and the Patrick Show. I don't really agree with a lot of that stuff. Okay, so SpongeBob after season 3 and after the very first movie, 2004, the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, it's an S tier, right? But Steven Hillenburg wanted the show to end after the first movie. So season 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 should not exist. So if you're judging SpongeBob just off of those first 3 magical seasons and the first movie, when it was supposed to end, I should put it as like SS tier up here. It should be SS tier, 2 S's, right? But, you know, I'm not going to do that here. SpongeBob, those first 3 seasons S tier, right? Season 4 through like 13, man. I mean, there are some gems hidden in there. But the show is just like a cash grab. It's corporate. Nickelodeon is going to keep this show running as long as they possibly can. Probably, sadly, until all of the crew passes away, they're going to keep this show running. The show nowadays, after the movie, this show would barely be A tier, maybe B tier, maybe even C tier. If you're talking about season like 4 through 13, man, it's definitely like maybe a C tier, right? Because the episodes, I mean, they're just soulless. It's just another kid's cartoon. SpongeBob season 1 through 3 and the movie was not just another kid's cartoon. It was something that both kids and parents could sit down and watch. I mean, they were adult jokes, kid jokes. I mean, it had everything. SpongeBob defines a generation of millennials. You got Squidward and SpongeBob, 2 dudes working at a fast food restaurant. One guy hates their life and the other guy loves their life. It's just a magical show. And I'm not going to let all that corporate BS make SpongeBob go down here. SpongeBob is an S tier for what it was supposed to be, okay? I'm only rating it off of what it was supposed to be because Steven Hillenburg, the creator, yes, he didn't want all these spinoffs. Yes, are they coming out? Is there controversy? Maybe he did work on the spinoffs, maybe he didn't. The truth is he wanted the show. The show was supposed to end after the first movie, and if you're judging this show off of that, then it gets S plus or 2S tier. I mean, it is above these shows right here. And that right there is my Nickelodeon tier list. I'm going to do a quick little scan through, and I'm going to maybe move some stuff around. But this right here is the Fanlox tier list for Nicktoons. I wish I could put a lot of these other shows, because like I know Harvey Beaks, I know Wayside, I know Penguins of Madagascar, Cat Scratch, Drake and Josh. I know all those shows, but I haven't seen them in so long. I know Tough Puppy. I remember watching that as a kid, but I haven't seen it in so long. I don't want to unfairly judge something, right? But I love all those shows. I just don't want to unfairly judge them. So this is my tier list from right now. And yes, guys, that's the Fanlox tier list. I mean, this is my opinion, but I also talked you guys through. You know, all this stuff makes sense. I didn't just randomly put stuff on here. So here's my tier list, guys. Hope you like it.
Alrighty, guys, so that was my tier list. Hope you guys enjoyed the list. And like I said earlier, if you guys want more tier lists, let me know down below. And this is my vlog channel, guys. So if you know me from Super Mario Fanlox or SMF Wrestling, my two other popular channels, this is my official vlog channel. So if you guys want to see me behind the camera, behind the plushies, behind the action figures, this is where you want to be. So please, guys, subscribe and let's make this vlog channel bigger. I want to do more vlogs, more real life stuff, or like tier lists, or like maybe challenge videos, or maybe like advice videos. I'll do some story time videos. I mean, just give me ideas. Please subscribe, and thank you guys for watching, and leave your opinions down below on what you guys think of my tier list. And if you think that I'm wrong, tell me. I want to hear it. Or if you agree, tell me that too. Just comment down below. I'll see you guys next time. I'm Fanlox, and peace out.